Hello there, my name is Lucas and today here for the research page with my very first little video on how to improve your entry for the TRP contest in the month of the Independence Challenge. So I hope you already downloaded your welcome package, because in there is some original and awesome 35mm film grain that I provided for you to use in all your projects, of course also in this entry, to improve your films on a visual basis. On another note, we also included this grain clip in full 4K cinema resolution for the use in your films. We actually do not think that you will shoot your film in 4K, and personally I would not recommend that you shoot this film in 4K, but hell yeah, now you could. So now we are here in Premiere Pro C6 and let's go really quickly through how you can apply this grain to your footage. So basically I have a test clip here. This is a little video I uploaded to my YouTube some time a while ago. And now we have here two clips of grain. So the first one is a 4K clip and the second one is an HD clip. As you can see here from the thumbnail, the 4K clip is a little bit wider. You can also read this here, because this is really cinema ready 4K, not only Quad HD resolution, and of course the HD clip is only normal 1080p. It's a bit smaller, of course. Both of these clips, as you can see here, are 25 frames per second and are 5 seconds long. If you really need these clips to be a different frame rate, which is usually not the case, because if you apply this to a 24p timeline, for example, you will just have skipped frames, which is no one will notice. But if you have to, you can just interpret the footage, set this, for example, to 24 frames per second, and then the duration gets 5 frames longer, which is logic, because 25p has 5 frames more at 5 seconds than 24p. So basically, if you have to do this, you could do it, but usually just don't bother about this. For grain, it's pretty much obsolete. So now let's take this grain clip here and apply it to our timeline. Now you can see, of course, that the clip is a bit too short because it's only 5 seconds. The problem is when we would upload a very long grain clip, this would be very big, so we can just loop this by making multiple instances, and we get to this in a second. First, we want to apply it, of course, to the footage. What we do here for normal is we click on this grain clip in Premiere and go to opacity, the opacity tab in the effect controls, and set this blending mode to overlay. And now we're done. And basically, any editor should have an option to apply blending modes to footage. And there are sometimes in different locations. For example, in Final Cut 7, I think you have to make some kind of right-click operation and then choose this from a list somewhere. However, the blending mode is what you're after, and you have to set it to overlay. So now let's take a look at the footage. Now we can scale it in here to 100%, and you can see this is a really nice, gritty 35mm grain. It can be a bit strong though, I know that. So that's why we could just, let's deactivate this hook for the keyframes here. We can just lower the opacity of this clip. And as you can see now, we also decrease the grain in the clip. Of course, it doesn't get smaller, it only gets less visible. And this could be a desired effect. What you could also do is you could take the most simple brightness and contrast effect and lower the contrast, and also achieve a decreasing aggressiveness. I think it's a good word for this, for the grain. Or you can also increase it to get a bit more out of this, a bit more grain, if you want that, of course. However, I think this is a pretty good way to start, and usually something around 50% works pretty good on your footage. And now if we want to apply to the whole clip, we just copy this instant, simply Control-C, and let's paste it here a lot of times. And of course you can also copy multiple instances and just paste them again. Some applications like After Effects let you loop a clip over and over again, so it gets longer by itself. However, this works just as well, and you won't notice at all that this grain is actually only looping and not an individual frame every time. However, sometimes you want a bit more grain than even this, you know? Sometimes you could want more grain. So first of all, let's set this to 100% again, and then let's copy this clip and paste it one layer on top. You have to, of course, this is very important for this technique, you cannot align them on the same level, you have to align them a bit differently, so with a bit of offset, so you get a really gritty, grainy look. from this. So now you have a really super grain if you wanted that. Isn't necessarily what you want, but you can do this. I just want to show you this. However, a small last thing that I want to show you is what we can do pretty cool with this 4K clip, because it is 4 times the resolution of HD. We can just drag it on top here, and again, let's set it to overlay. And now let's set this to 25%. So we can see, when we see in the motion tab, we could, for example, because this is the same size as the HD grain, but now we can, of course, scale it down to 50%. Up to 50% with HD material, we can scale this down. Of course, you can make it a bit bigger again, only don't go below 50% because then the layer is too small. And as you can see now, we have much less grain on the footage because the grain got smaller actually. So if we set this back to 100%, you can see this full grain, and now we only have half the size. And of course you can make like 75% to get a bit between this and apply this to your footage. Of course 4K will slow down your computer a bit, so maybe deactivate this as long as you're editing. But for the final output, that could be a cool effect and brings totally great, awesome 35mm film grain to your footage. So now, thanks for watching. I think this was already much longer than it intended to be. See you next time in the next video, and stay tuned. And hopefully I can see this technique in one or another film in the TRP contest. So, bye!